France 24's James André is there for us in front of that building, which was shelled. James André, thanks for joining us. Can you describe the scene around you now, a few hours after the building was hit?
Yes, absolutely. Well, this building was hit this morning around 5 a.m. And as you can see, it is a 9-story building. And here we have the entrance to one of the staircases of this building that you can see here that is completely destroyed. This is where this missile rocket hit this building. And well, for the moment, what we're being told by inhabitants here is that 2 people died in this attack, 9 people were wounded, are in hospital, and over 60 have had to be evacuated. Earlier on, we spoke to Anastasia, a young lady living in this building. She was telling us how it happened. She was sleeping when she heard the missile incoming. The whistling woke her up, and she says just 3 seconds later there was a huge detonation and all the windows were blown inside the building. Luckily for her, she was on the first floor, the other side of this building, and indeed she managed to get out unscathed like her parents. But indeed, of course, this is quite a shock. And as you can see right now, we have people who are trying to recuperate some of their belongings, some of their stuff in these flats that are now completely destroyed. And they are loading them into cars here in order to be able to take them to the next place where they will be living, which, of course, means a lot of uncertainty. Another important thing is that this is northern Kyiv, and here in the north, what we do hear a lot is a lot of artillery departures, and we also hear the noise of missiles being fired back at the Russian forces. That's what we've been told here. So that is pretty much a relentless sound here that you hear in the distance, these explosions.
James André, you've been in Kyiv, traveling around the city for a few days now. What's the mood like in the city overall, especially with Russian forces knocking at the door, so to speak?
Well, the mood is one of expectation. The city is pretty much empty on the streets. There are some people, there are cars. As you know, half the population has left, but half the population is still here, which means that people are still living in the city and walking around. But there are few people on the streets. Shops are mostly closed. Some offices are open. We were being told that people were still going at work. Others were working remotely. School has restarted actually in Ukraine today, but it's done remotely. Schools are, of course, closed and have been since the beginning of this invasion. So indeed, it is a rather surprising mood of both people waiting to see what will happen, a lot of them not wanting to leave, but of course very worried about what will happen when Russian forces eventually encircle the city, if they do. Now, what you do see also, of course, is a city that is fortified. There are checkpoints everywhere. There's a lot of police and military personnel on the streets checking documents, many checkpoints, and indeed this mood of waiting. But there are still opportunities in Kiev for glimpses of normal life. In these northern neighbourhoods, though, that is a lot less obvious.
James André reporting there from the district of Obolon in northern Kyiv, just in front of that building that was hit by a Russian shell early in the morning this Monday.